All right, you guys have been asking for it, and so here it is. We're doing the update video on the BLOHM VOSS BVP-107, the German plane that never really existed, but my gosh, has it been a fun project to work on. When we originally did our first challenge video, the storage video, we set ourselves a new challenge to dive in and come up with this version of the plane that flew. That wasn't a big enough of a challenge, however. We ended up saying, no, has to have EDFs and retractable landing gears. And, well, it turns out there's some engineering that has to occur there. And I'll tell you, I have spent hundreds of hours on prototypes in CAD and just researching this plane to figure out what the best way to build it is, and also to make it so that you guys can build it yourselves as well. So we've kind of had to make some concessions. Obviously, if we're using EDFs instead of the propellers we see here, the nacelles have to be engineered differently, and so does our fuselage as well. And those have been fun challenges for me to take and overcome. God, I really do. I probably have a couple hundred hours on this plane just in the design, engineering, prototyping, and all of that. Every time I'd come up with a solution for something, it would introduce, some other problem down the road. I think we're close. I think we're real close. So I've decided I want to do two different versions of this plane, actually. Version 1, I've had to make just enough changes to the airframe that I want to see if this thing still flies and flies stably. And so we're going to actually be using 3 propellers and go 100% prop drive for the first version of this plane. That way we can get it out, see if it wants to fly, see if it's airworthy still, and then, really get an idea what the control surfaces want to do. Now, interestingly enough, version 2 will be that EDF version, but there are some really very different flight characteristics between that plane and, well, what you see here on the table right now. The biggest change is in the way the control surfaces operate. Now, our rudder is going to be a rudder. That's pretty vanilla, our elevator, but our rudders are going to be very different. Because we're actually taking and ducting our EDFs through that nacelle, we actually get differential thrust. And not only that, but we're actually channeling it inside of there. We get a lot of differential thrust. So let's clear the table here. You guys can kind of see where we are. Oh, we've got a few other interesting bits, like we're trying to make this thing portable. So that's one of the hardest parts. You can see how big this is. And so we've been able to take and build these wing adapters where hopefully all we need is a couple pieces of carbon fiber, and we'll be able to take and have this able to come apart, transport easily, go together as easily as possible on the airfield and fly. So yeah, let's clear the table. You guys kind of get an idea where we're at and what we're doing. And yeah, we'll dive in. Let's take a closer look. All right, so here we have some of the components I wanted to take and review, show you some of the progress that we've been able to take and make. So in our propeller-based version, basically what we've done is we've simply made a mount that's designed to go inside of these tubes. These tubes are, for the most part, hollow. We do have some supports in there that are actually cut from foam board. In our ducted fan version, we actually have a skeleton made of 1/8 inch thick plywood. And that's for strength as well as some of the ducting we're trying to do. In our prop version, we're using a 0.15 rimfire motor. We're going with a 60 amp ESC 4-cell batteries, and that really gives it some kick. But hey, we've got 13x7 master air screw 3-blade props. Now, That really adds to it. And we've designed this to be a very modular type setup, so hopefully we can use it on other planes in the future. So we've got this cowling, beautiful cowling. Found this on thingiverse.com. It's a 3D printing asset site. Everything's free, it's shared to the community. And this is actually someone's project they did for the flight test C-Duck plane, foam board plane, and it just so happens for our purposes and uses it fit perfectly. So we are able to take and simply slip that over our wooden frame, and then that easily plugs into our fuselage. And by all means, it's going to be a good looking plane when we're done. You know, nice thing is too, as we're prototyping, we can adjust so many things here to get the desired look that we're going for. And my gosh, I'll tell you right now, that is a good looking engine pod. Nice thing is it can be self-contained as well. We can actually mount our ESC in there and also perhaps a quick change battery pack. And yeah, that's a pretty slick little setup. So the plans for this, as well as everything else you see, including the full plane, we'll have on our website, angryzeppelin.com, and it'll be in multiple file formats. You'll be able to take and download it. We'll have links to things like these cowls. Now, another interesting thing is, so we've got the version 2, we really had to build some structural support. Now, this is a really beautiful, lightweight mount, and honestly it provides some rigidity and also airflow control within our nacelles. And what's nice about these is they operate very similarly to our other setup here, in that we have quick change capabilities. So this is just a 64 millimeter, looks like it's a 6-blade, let's give you guys a number, 3000 kV ducted fan. These things are like 18 bucks, 15 bucks, 20 bucks on Amazon. And that's where I got it from. And so with this cheap little EDF, and we're using 3 of these, the thing that's nice is we can just take these and slip them down into the skeleton that we've built here. And with a single screw pin through, this is never going to come out. We've got a little bit of cuts in here for, you know, channeling our wiring down the length of the fuselage and to our ESCs and into our batteries. Those we're going to take and hide in the wings for the EDF version. This entire thing just kind of hangs out inside of this nacelle. Now, this is where things get fun. This thing's got some serious power. So I've got just a little 4-cell. This is a little 1300 milliamp battery. And I'm gonna give you guys just a quick demonstration on where we are with this. Now, it's always hard to fully represent something when you're not here in person, but the thrust vectoring that this has is just amazing. So we're taking that air, we're blowing it down this cavity, separating it into 2 separate veins, and then we're taking and compressing it. And it exits on the sides here into our rudder surface area, or surface control surface. So let's, this is so much fun. Let's check this out. So, now I realize it's hard to see on camera and, you know, home TV, all that, how much power this has. Let's do this. And there's 3 of these ridiculous things on this plane. Hey, if any of you have any ideas that just kind of spark right now, seeing this crazy little pod and what it's capable of, give me some ideas for other uses for this, plane designs. You know, do we take a Mustang and we take and throw a couple of these on the wingtips of a Mustang? I mean, let's come up with some fun ideas here, and let's kind of throw that around. So it's hard to show, but we're going to try. We're going to show some of that thrust vectoring, and hopefully you guys will be able to see. Boy, it's real nose heavy. So we'll approximate a CG here. Oh, airplanes above. That is just a absolute riot. And again, little 4-cell, just our little receiver, and then that embedded 64 mil EDF. Beautiful little setup. I gotta be honest, I'm pretty proud of this. This is pretty slick. You know, I just can't help it. Let's see if this will stay put. So obviously, goofing around aside, we've made some pretty serious progress. I think we're at the point where we just break out the hot glue gun and we brute force one of these together, throw the props on it, take it out, we'll do the maiden flight of that, and we'll see how it performs. You know, if you're interested in being part of the, you know, research and development side of things, you guys want early access to these patterns and plans that I've been working on, let me know, and you know, I'll see if I can't prepare those and get those online if there's enough interest. Then you can make your own, have some fun with it. You know, the only downside, and I realize it is a technical barrier to entry on this specific setup, these pods, while they're cool with all the skeletonization and whatnot, there's, you know, laser cutters that are involved. You know, I'm fortunate to have one here in the shop, but you know, if you don't have one, I realize that's a problem. That can be a headache. And so I think that's why being able to take and have access to the prop driven version, this is going to be so valuable for so many people. You know, a 3D printer, make the cowl, or just grab a cowl off some other plane. And you know, a scroll saw, coping saw, will have the patterns available. You should be able to take and cut out one of these just fine on your own. So yeah, other than a, you know, bit of elbow grease, I think we're more or less there. We're ready. So let us know what you think about this project. I know it's been a long time in the works. You know, we got so buried last year with all the plane reviews that we kind of have pushed away and moved away from the part that I really love, which is sitting down and engineering and creating something new and sharing that, of course. So, you know, if this is something that interests you, let us know, and we'll see you guys out on the runway when this thing takes its maiden. Until then, keep flying.